Welcome back, everyone, for another Equally Yoked. I'm Victor. This is Brittany, and today we are going to be discussing community, the importance of community, fellowship, one accord, being with one another, enduring with one another, striving with one another, building faith with one another.
Yes, the Lord has taught us that community is so important. It's been so important in our walk. There's been plenty of times where we have felt like we were getting weak, weary, in our well doing. And it was the community that the Lord had provided us with that helped us be strengthened. So we see this in the Bible. The what's coming to me is with Moses, where her and Joshua, I think it was,
Hmm.
held his arms up. As the Israelites were fighting a battle, and while his arms was raised, they were winning, and then when his arms started to droop down, they were, being defeated. And so it was really that power of community that helped Moses to just stand on his faith, staying rooted in what God had him doing. And it's the same for us today, is that community helps us with those things.
Yeah, I definitely believe especially if you're struggling in the area of finding community, that you pray to the Lord to place you in community, in a place um, where you can find people that have either trailed the path before you, or in the same season as you, or are literally there to help uplift you in those moments and times that you need it. Sometimes we can find ourselves, for me, for instance, when trying to explain people about a house and a vehicle and how God called us away from our jobs, instead of providing or combining their faith with my faith, they automatically went to solutions as a man, like, well, you should really think about this, or did the Lord just not want you at that job? He didn't really tell you not to work. Things of that nature. You don't want to find yourself around people that, when you're saying you need prayer or uplifting or encouragement, that they go to goals and solutions rather than faith and prayer with you. Like, I'm not asking you for all that. I'm asking you to combine your faith with my prayer that the Father will do these things on behalf of his will being done. Not know, hey, let me talk to you on the side, and don't don't try to find yourself, or don't forcibly place yourself in areas where you think because they have good programs at this church that that's where you need to be at. Sometimes you'll find yourself at a place where you don't understand why you are there. And then over time, the Father will show you why you are there. So
Yeah.
all the prayers that you've been praying for community and relationships and things of that nature, he might place you in obscure places where it's like, I don't fit in. I don't resonate with these people. They don't understand me. I don't really understand them. And then over time, you're like, oh, this is why I'm here.
Yeah. And I think too, what you said about community and just making sure that we ask the Lord for what our community looks like. Because it's about being equally yoked. We talked about being equally yoked in relationship, in marriages, but that's also in community. And so when you have those divine relationships that God has placed you in with a community that He has sought fit for you, then you're able to be in your optimal self, I guess, because you're with the other people that together you guys are able to do whatever he has purposed, whether that's just fellowship, whether
Yeah.
that's encouragement, whatever it can be in its fullness when you're with the right people.
Mhm.
And what I'll say too to that is, the Lord specifically had us remove ourselves from different community that we
Mhm.
had when we first came to Christ. Um, and it's a lot of it has to do with what you're saying. You want to have people that can speak life into what God is giving you to do. And it's they're well meaning, but sometimes if they don't have the same faith, if they're not yoked to Christ in the way that you are, they can't speak life into your situation. They can't give the encouragement. They can't pour into you. And you need that. You need people that can pour into you just as you're pouring into other people.
Yeah, regardless of how many years of Christ they've been in, or regardless of what type
Mhm.
of leadership roles they're in. I will
Mhm.
say this as well when it comes to community where you are being placed there. Um, specifically ask the Father, like, are these kingdom friends? Or is this just for a season? Or am I supposed to help alongside of them? Or am I supposed to be here to receive? Because sometimes we can find ourselves in these situations where we just become loyal to people rather than obedient to what the Lord is telling us that these people are here for. So you'll have people that'll join small groups with you that are supposed to be your friends and they're supposed to be walking with you. There's sometimes you'll find people that you're the one that's there to encourage them. And there'll be other times where it's like, no, this is a person that you are being mentored by, and you're going to be mentored by them for a little bit. And when it's time for you to go, it's going to be tough, but you have to understand that you need to let them go. So community is very, very challenging as a believer because we want all these things, or we want all these things to look like how we want them to look when it comes to community, and it don't really work out like that.
Yeah, and I think it's awesome because community is very important to God. God is three persons
Hmm.
that works as one, in unity. And so that's what he wants for all of us as well. And you see that in the giftings that he gives each one of us. And so, like, prime example, yesterday, within the Wives of Zion group chat, shameless plug, if you want to join, go to the website. Anyway, but in the group chat, the Lord will give us a piece of something. And it's always meant for us to, we get his fullness when we come together. And so that's exactly what happened within the chat. I mean, someone got, the Lord had gave them revelation and had them in one part of scripture where that spoke directly to what another person needed to hear in that moment, which spoke directly to, and
Hmm.
what they released spoke into what someone else needed. And so at the end, we were all edified and we all received what we needed from the Lord, but it came from each other. And that's only through community that we're able to get those things. Because a lot of times, if we've learned this too, you know, we may be asking the Lord for something, or, because you have your own personal relationship with the Lord, you're expecting the answer for Him to come directly to you, but He'll give it to someone else.
Yeah.
It's not that, no, He can't, speak to you because you guys have your own relationship, but He does it so that we do in turn go to each other and work together
Hmm.
in the way that He's designed for community to work.
For those that are lone rangering out there, or lone wolfing it, or hurt by community in the past, I mean that goes to what we are talking about or praying into this week, just for forgiveness, and
Yeah.
just really think about your past issues that you may have had, and really sit with the Father and go through a bird's eye view now that you're out of it. Maybe you weren't supposed to be there, and that's why those things happen. We
Yeah.
explained that with the kids earlier about Abram and Lot, where God forced them away by having their herdsmen uh, fight with one another, and because Lot didn't ask the father where should he go, he picked the wrong place. Where when Abram went where the father told him to go, he said, "All of this is yours." So we got to look at ourselves sometimes, especially in these situations where we can just continuously find ourselves like, oh, every church I go to is this, every church I go to is that. Well, are you just going online and picking places, or are you really praying about where you should go and asking for specific confirmations? And this is not a ploy to get people to go to church. This is a plea of like find your people, whether it's in a small group, a church, uh,
Yeah.
wherever anybody meets at, so that you guys can build with one another. It's hard to build a wall if nobody is talking to one another and nobody knows that somebody else is building another part of the wall. Um, because I could be building the same piece that you're building and you not even know it. I might be building it up and you might be taking it down. Like, why does somebody keep coming? It's just very, very interesting when it comes to community. I've heard all sorts of things and all.
Yeah.
I generally call them excuses, but it's more or less like, hey, if he's pulled you out of church, cool. Then what is it supposed to be next? Because nowhere in the Bible does it show God sending out people one by one. It's always two by two, right? So I think it's very, very important to know when you're in a season of isolation That's different because we've been through that season of isolation where he was removing the old layers and then placing us in the new layers. So we never went into this thing where it's, I'm going to do all this by myself. Me and my wife are going to get on this boat and we're going to live on the boat by ourselves and never be out there at all. It doesn't say that anywhere in scripture for us to be of that nature, other than when Jesus went away to pray for a little bit and then the disciples showed up. So yes, we have those times, we have those seasons, we have those, it should be called boundaries, right, with others, where we do have our own personal time, our own personal relationship. And then when we need to do things for the body, we come together and do things for the body. And that's how everything grows. So community is definitely important. Like we talked about earlier, when we moved here, we prayed so much for our community, and now we are starting to see the fruits of the community. So we've come from a place where it's like, where you're going, these people can't go with you,
Mhm.
literally. To now, it's okay, these are the people that I want to grow with you. And even last night, talking to the gentleman about some of the things that we were discussing for our goals and objectives for 2026, somebody brought up an important factor of like, look at who's been around you now. Those should be your foundational people. And then pay attention to the people that are coming around you now based off of the things that you are doing or you are seeing or they see within you. So there's different levels of of
Mhm.
of who you should be around, who gets to be around, and just using discernment when you're in community is very important.
Very, very important, especially for leaders, I would say too. Um, I think it's just so important that we all have community, we all have those relationships, um, because again, we all need to be poured into. God will do it through each other, but it's so imperative that we seek the Lord on who those persons are.
Mhm.
Um, that he wants to have with us, that are anointed to walk with us in that season or for life.
Mhm.
That he makes it clear to us so that we are partnering with the right people
Yeah.
that he has designated for us to partner with, and we're not partnering with the people that we shouldn't. And what I'll say also is, if God is calling you to be removed from communities that you're currently in, that have been toxic to you or that aren't serving his purpose for you, and he's calling you out of those relationships, just know that anything that you give to God, your friendships, your coworker relationships, all your type of relationships that you give to God, he is going to give it back to you, but it's going to be sanctified. When he gives it back to you, it's going to be holy, it's going to be fulfilling, it's going to be complete
Mhm.
and perfect, in his design. So if you are leaving that friendship because the Lord told you to leave it, just know that in his due time, he will give you someone else in your life that can really fill you
Mhm.
up, that can partner with you, that can help encourage you when you're down, that you can trust in sharing things with, and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
He will do.
Thank you for taking your time out with me with your busy schedule.
He always does that. But we thank you guys for being part of our community.
Yeah.
Again, as Vic was saying, community is not just a four-wall building church. We are the church. So that could look like a lot of different things. Just go to the Lord and he will direct you as he sees fit. But we do thank you guys for being part of our community
Hmm.
here at Hungry for the Word and Wives of Zion. And I guess we'll see you guys next time on Equally Yoked.